everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don. And if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason, and that's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
I am your obligatory Panther shot, Gregory Thomas, aka GT Rebirth.
60% of the time, he works every time. He's here to help guide us. He's here to help guide us through.
I thought about making a Sex Panther joke, but I was just like, yeah, it feels.
Right. Yeah. It's right there. It's right there. I go for the low hanging fruit when it comes to situations like this. But we are continuing our series dissecting the various books in the Ultimate Universe, and we have come to Ultimate Black Panther, which written by Bryan Edward Hill with art by Stefano Caselli, also set in the Ultimate Universe. I wanted to ask you, GT, up front, why'd you pick this book, I guess?
We'd had some fun talking about Black Panther in the past, and I also remember us like trying to. I say trying to as if it was difficult, but like really getting the press on what was the Ta-Nehisi Coates run of the Black Panther, which was, I remember us saying like it was a good book, but it was a super wordy book because Ta-Nehisi Coates really wants to get in to the dirt and the grime of the Wakandan political system.
Yeah.
And I just thought it'd be fun to cover a Black Panther book that kind of goes completely in the other direction.
It does. Are you reading a lot of the Ultimate titles at the moment?
Not as many. I think like I'm reading Ultimate Spider-Man and I'm keeping up with the Ultimates. I was reading this for a bit and then I scaled back and then not so much. I thought one day I'd get around to Ultimate Logan.
Oh, Wolverine,
I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was informed by Yogi that it is a trash heap of butt juice, apparently.
Yeah, that's what people are saying.
Other than that, I haven't done the X-Men. That one's just so there's a level of weird that gets intimidating for me.
Yeah. It looks impenetrable. I can agree with you there on the outside looking in. It doesn't look like anything else here, and I guess that's kind of what I wanted to ask, because you asked, you had told me you were just telling me the Ultimate stories you have read. How much of this did you think needed to be like completely revamped, right? Because we get this opportunity of an Ultimate Universe, and some people like Peach Momoko take the Ultimate X-Men and make them something completely different. Are you satisfied with the level of variance of this Black Panther 2 original recipe? I guess is my question.
I guess I'm interested in how the thing that I've been most interested in change-wise is how the relationships have changed.
Okay.
Like Okoye is his significant other.
Right.
That one threw me off. I didn't know what to expect change-wise because I think I don't know enough of original recipe Black Panther to know how much change gets made. I know that there's a certain version of like Man Ape, and I don't know how much of that they actually ever have gone into. But I know it's an idea that they try to avoid now because like the connotation of Man Ape is just like so like let's not do that again.
Fair.
So thanks movie. He's in Baku now. We're all cool with him.
Yeah. This is very much colored, I would say, by the film.
I think 100%. Like the suit is just the suit's the costume.
What do you think about the lack of mouth? What do you think about that little opening there?
That's weird. That's a little weird. Like
it allows him to show expression, especially with, right? Because I mean,
it does. But then it like sometimes it like because the costume is dark,
You just
but
get the
then
little brown square.
no, see the problem is like the costume is dark, but
Uh-huh.
then the beard is darker, and then he bears teeth.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's happening here?
Right, right, right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of we should set the scene here, and this is spoiler alerts for the series Ultimate Black Panther, but we're not going issue to issue, and we're not definitely not spoiling the end. It still hasn't reached its end, but this is more
No.
so of an overall conversation about like the characters and the arcs and the themes that they're trying to set up in here. But as far as like what like the groundwork being laid here, Black Panther still T'Challa starts
Yes.
off the story as the Black Panther. He is also king of Wakanda, even though his father is alive.
Mm.
And he still holds
Yeah, it seems
reference.
like there was a an actual living succession here.
Yeah, yeah, which is rare, right? He always Pop's always got to die for for the son to kind of rise here. But yeah, we have T'Challa, and I don't I don't think see much change in his design. Nothing that I would say strikes anything different. Like I said, I think he's really modeled after uh the Black Panther film version, even though some panels he comes off a little Jonathan Majory in his design, and I'm just like, hey, what's going on over there? Um, but the two biggest things about, yes, you would say like Wakanda, are his isolationist nature and the idea that they harbor a lot of vibranium. And I
Yeah.
feel like those are the two things that they are deconstructing in the story. I think that they we all know that there's been this huge power grab after the events of the Maker being locked in the city. And if you want to know what happened there, go back and check out our Dissecting Ultimate Universe, or our Ultimate Universe 101, where we go over Ultimate Invasion and how the Maker got trapped in that city. But he has tasked Khonshu and Lord Khonshu and Lord Ra, and he's given them the upper and lower kingdoms of Africa to look over. And even though they are, kind of doing their best or worst, depending on how you want to think about it,
Yeah.
Wakanda is still isolationist, and Wakanda still has its own sovereignty because it's hidden and protected and all this other kind of stuff. And what is presented very early on is this idea that Wakanda can intervene in the rise of Ra and Khonshu, but should it because of its isolationist nature? Shuri very much in this book believes that Wakanda can and should do more, whereas T'Challa doesn't want to. Was it rock the boat?
Yeah. Wakanda. No, T'Challa is not unlike the film, very much like indoctrinated into his traditions.
Yeah, and it's got to be hard to break. You grow up in them, you hold some reverence for them. If he didn't think any of this was worth a damn, he wouldn't be in this position, right? And
Right.
then you find yourself then getting radicalized or having these moments here where you feel like you can do more, but does that then it's opening up your gates to help opening up you for attack? And he has that on his
Yeah.
conscience. One wrong decision he makes out of emotion can topple his entire kingdom.
And also like the issue with monarchy is that like not like it's one thing to be attached to like the customs of culture in the country, but then you add the fact that all of those decisions are also your father's,
Yes.
and then like not only are you loyal to that, but you're loyal to the idea that all these ideas came from family.
Yeah.
So like you're betraying two things at the same time that are very near to you.
Yeah. And if it's all you've ever known, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't, right? Yeah, this may
Yeah,
not be the complete right thing, but this is what we've been doing, and this is kind of what's worked. Um,
right. And like to some degree, like even if you bel even if you believed or you wanted to believe in another idea, to do so is almost to tell your father that he was wrong.
yeah. And unless it immediately yields positive results, the jury's out on whether or not you did the right thing, right?
Yeah,
Forever in the grand scheme. But if in 200 years, at least to the enslavement of Wakanda, they'll point to that one moment that you
yeah,
chose
right,
to,
right, right.
buck tradition. So yeah, that has to weigh heavy on him. Um, Another interesting thing is through the Black Panther film and then through me reading Black Panther, more modern takes on the character. There's a lot of importance in Boss, right? The
Yeah.
Panther God, and they believe that the Panther God actually chooses the Black Panther, imbues them with these gifts through the heart shape herb. At one point, even granting Doom access to the vibranium in one of those situations. But here they
So
go ahead, continue.
the the Wakandans are sort of unique in the way that in that as they have become more technologically and scientifically advanced, they have somehow also become even more religious.
Isn't that interesting? I I I I completely agree with you, and there are subsets even in modern Christianity as it evolves that believe that God gives us the intelligence to create, right, in His
Yeah.
name. So they want science and sort of religion to go hand in hand, but they are in direct conflict with Ra and Khonshu, whose entire image relies on the idea that people believe that they are gods.
Right.
Is it ever explicitly stated whether they are or not?
I don't think so, but
Do you think that they are?
um, not necessarily. I don't. Like it's weird in that sense because like this comic book has Thor in it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So it's not
So
like
I
you can
don't
go.
I
No one could be a god and walk the land. It's like no. Well, yeah. There's a couple. There's a couple already doing
so
that.
like I don't know how to quantify godhood.
Yeah. 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 I mean, because I was wondering if they're the actual manifestations of these gods, if they were just fists, right? If
Right.
Lord Khonshu is just a fist of the actual Khonshu, and if Ra is just a fist of Ra. I do think that it was interesting to make the
Fist of
antagonist.
Ra sounds like a great band.
Yeah. Right. I do think it's also interesting to make the antagonist in this black, and they could have went the very easy route, right? And made it
Yeah.
like some sort of colonizer. It could have been Captain Britain. We all know what Britain did with Africa, and that would have been already
Among other
fucking
countries.
yes, that would already have been built in. But the subjugation under it'd be your own. Some may even say, and
Yeah.
when you wrap religion around in this, it's even crazier. But this kind of spoon feeds people the idea of how people can become radicalized and become extremists in religion. And
Hmm.
its narrative is basically that they are let down by almost everybody else. Right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of talk in this about that the people who may not even 100% believe in Moon Knight, aka Lord Ra and Lord Khonshu, um, that those people choose to because they're the only ones to produce results, right?
I mean, if you're broke and starving and poor, and the people with guns show up and build a hospital, you go, they built the hospital
Right, 100%.
though.
Yeah, yeah, and so it doesn't matter what side of the moral fence you're on in that moment because you're not producing for those people. And
Yeah.
this this book, I think more than any other, maybe they played a little bit. I felt like they played a little bit in it in One Nation Under Our Feet and with the Ta-Nehisi Coates book, but
Still
uh,
struggling with
I
that
still
one,
struggle. Hey, I'm still struggling. Hey, last week I had to do all Japanese names. Okay, I'm still.
Oh no.
I have a mouthful of peanut butter on
Were
occasion when
you
it comes to
covering
these
last week?
Ultimate X-Men.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
saying
yikes.
all the wrong enunciations and giving it all the wrong tone, but um,
Woof.
yeah, it was a little crazy in this. So, do you think there's a direct correlation there? Or are we just blaming Wakanda to blame Wakanda? Do you think there's a direct correlation with their lack of interventionist nature because they're so isolationist? Isolate.
Uh, yeah, I think there's always something to say about like um if if you know that you could have spread the wealth a little bit, as it were,
Yeah.
and to some degree, like yeah, it is kind of your fault if you didn't provide for them, and then somebody who did happens to be like, how do you say, in confrontation with you or whatever. It was
Yeah.
like this was an opportunity you opened up.
Yes, this is the idea of many people when they talk about acts of political violence. They will say things like, um, "Whatever happened didn't happen in a vacuum,"
Yeah.
and it's very similar here. It's not like they fell out. Well, I mean, they are lords, so maybe they did fall out of the sky. But the idea that these people would be radicalized against Wakanda didn't come from nowhere. It came from years of neglect, and now
Yeah.
they're being told by somebody else that those people are the enemy, and that's how you build, these factions of extremists across
I mean,
across the
happy
board.
people don't just start talking to sky people.
It's true. It's true. There comes a level of desperation there, that sort of forces those hands. Um, I like, this is a random aside. I like that there's a sequence in this where Shuri and Okoye get into an argument and they decide to throw hands like in a fair in a fair kind of fight. Like, hey, Goran Melange rules. You yield, you
Yeah.
lose, kind of shit. I like that. I kind of like that level of diplomacy, or at least this. I like that they both treat each other with reverence. I was
Mm.
worried at one point it was going to become too much one way or the other, and I guess we are kind of positioning Okoye to not be an antagonist, but certainly be on the other side, right?
Y- Uh, yeah.
Because she's not roped into the inner
Okoye.
circle that we will end up
No, she's
talking about
not.
in a bit. And according to the Voodoo Con, she may not be in the future for Black Panther or the future that he's supposed to be on. She is not
Yeah.
the woman of light that is seen in the future of T'Challa's future, I should say. So I wonder, what do you see for that character? What do you see in her journey in this as someone who stands next to T'Challa and is very much being supportive? I don't think at all she's written in here to be like the classic spouse that is, discouraging or, manipulative or any of that kind of stuff. I think that she's on the up and up. I think that she's supportive and loving. And uh, at one point, she defends him and he's like, "Thank you." And she goes, "No, I agree with you. If I didn't, I wouldn't have defended you." You're like, real, really stands on her own 2 feet kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but they 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 placed that seed, man, that vision of that child, and
First off,
immediately,
I think there's a very complex relationship here because like Okoye has to be both like wife and citizen servant at the same time,
yeah,
right? And, like that is like at one point, I don't know, like how do you stand next to like that man as your like partner in life and love and all that, and at the same time like if the king tells you to quiet down, you quiet the fuck down.
yeah. I mean, even as a sister, Shuri feels that, right? Like if he
Yeah.
says it, it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, and yeah, it's an unenviable position. You both Okoye and T'Challa in this. I wanted to talk a little bit about the use of spies. I think that
Mm.
creates this level of political thriller that I wish was more. I wish there were Wakandan spies in every MCU movie. They should be. Why wouldn't they have people in every, just for their own interest in all these positions and stuff. So the idea that the initial um alert that Khonshu and Ra, Moon Knight together are taking over parts of the upper and lower kingdoms as a result, they find this out because they have spies. But ultimately, at one point in this, spies become their undoing. So I just find this whole nature of political espionage a little bit interesting because it is shown in this book, at least, to be fair across the board.
Hmm.
Wakanda's doing it and it's being done against Wakanda. Then they had a former Dora, right? Breach their walls and sort of
Yeah.
help enact, political violence. Where do you stand on spies?
Um, Jeez.
Send this to the FBI afterwards, by the way. So just make sure,
Right,
make sure.
seriously. Seriously. It's one of those things where like on one hand you almost start treating it like the way I think you treat steroids in baseball, it's like if everyone's doing it, if how much are we cheating?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I guess it's just like a piece of it isn't everything. At the same time, I don't know. Does it yield some positives? Maybe.
yeah. I just that when you're at that level where you have to get them, I just feel like your head's on a swivel. And whether or not that's
Yeah,
for the goodness of your country, right? Because you kind of have to have eyes in all locations, but that could also, lead to huge feelings of paranoia, which then can ultimately cause you to cross some lines that you may not be willing to cross.
yeah. I guess you'd have to ask the question at some point, like, is there any such thing as ethical spying?
Yes, right. Yeah, 100%. Because it's all perspective. If you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for your kingdom, then that's what that's good enough for you. But when it gets done to you, we get a version in this book of the death of T'Chaka, like we got in
Mm.
the Black Panther. No, like we got in Civil War. So you're getting all crazy here. Like we got in Civil War. What do you think about this death here, the suicide bomber, uh, death of T'Chaka?
That was ugly.
It was. I think
That
he
was
died
pretty
pushing
ugly.
his son out of the way or something.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I that stuff was like really ugly because like there's a lot of and the term gets used here, so I don't feel like I guess I shouldn't feel bad about it, but like there's a lot of that sort of like jihad stuff going on,
Yeah,
and like
this is their
it's
holy war
scary. Yeah, it's sort of scary how ugly that can get.
with how
Um,
devoted you can get for the cause.
yeah,
How down for the
but
cause.
also
Yeah,
in that like the weapons are hiding in plain sight.
yeah. And they're only there because you wouldn't see them as weapons because they're people. In some
Exactly.
cases
It's just
because they're fucking people.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, you get this. It kind of reminds me, and this might be not the greatest analogy, but it kind of reminds me of the stories that I hear like during World War II. They were sending refugees, or refugees were just finding themselves on the shore of America, and we were refusing them in an attempt to stay out of it. Like we were
right.
like, this is y'all war. Y'all doing some fucking fuck shit. We're not here to police anyone or say anyone's right. And then Pearl Harbor happens. And
Yeah,
after Pearl Harbor, our tune changes significantly and our
yeah.
involvement changes significantly. Was the death of T'Chaka Wakanda's Pearl Harbor?
Well, see, the ironic part about that is now like the criticism is that America is like the world police, and people are just like, no, we tried that shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We
How?
tried not being that. We tried staying out of it.
Yeah, you almost damned if you do, damned if you don't. Especially if you don't have the right motives, right? If you
Yeah,
if every little thing you see in a country becomes a thing that you feel like you have to stamp out because you have to be the police, the world police,
yeah, but there's also like everyone wants to ask that question, of course, of what they think is the moral imperative. So like if you have the resources, shouldn't you? Even though politically speaking and socially speaking, there are a lot of reasons why you shouldn't.
right?
Like uh, there's a lot of it in very small microcosms of social issues where it's like, well, do you have the moral imperative to tell your homie that you saw his chick with some other dude? Do you really have all the answers? No. Is that their problem? Yes, it's not yours.
Yeah, yeah. But you also cannot pretend not to know what the implications of doing those things do, right? You can't like just put the
Absolutely,
grenade in the
yeah.
room and run in the opposite direction. Um,
I didn't know it'd go off.
yes, yes. And, I don't know what happened. I just know there was a grenade. I put a grenade down, but I don't know. So like, I guess what I'm asking is like, was he in the right mind to? I feel like he was a little bit emotional coming declaring this war. Obviously,
Oh,
he had every
100%.
right to be, but at what point is it justified? I guess eye for an
Uh,
eye and all that. all that
Yeah, I
jazz.
mean, I think when you have like uh what a pointed term to use at the moment. I think when you end up in a situation like that where there is a political assassination amongst other victims, like I don't think there's much other response other than that. Like it helped. It certainly didn't hurt. It certainly accelerated things, the fact that it was also made personal for T'Challa,
Yeah,
but I think that's the response either way.
yeah,
I think even if T'Chaka survives that, like this is still an attempt, and
right.
like I don't know how much more serious you get than that.
Yeah. Um, I thought it was ironic the how it mirrors, you know, how the stakes get upped once you have skin in the game.
Hmm.
And he got like very hands on with his war. Is what I'll say. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
He was like basically going from site to site and taking down these like Moon Knight soldiers. But we can't talk about what's going on outside of Wakanda without talking about two very particular characters that were introduced pretty early on in this series, and that is Eric Killmonger, freedom
Hmm.
fighter,
Everyone loves him.
and his little boo, Aurora Monroe herself, Storm.
Hmm.
What do you think about that pairing in this
Nothing
story?
about nothing about this relationship is doomed in any
anyway,
way.
anyway, I can't see how Killmonger and T'Challa end up enemies at the end of all this. There's absolutely no way. So, is that how you see this?
There
Is
is
it
absolutely
are
no
they
end.
are they the
Oh, this is
Titanic and
this
the
is
iceberg is just not too far?
yeah. This is every way this can go wrong. Um, and they don't know it yet because they don't know that they are memes and canon.
Yes.
Um, uh, yeah. The moment I saw that, I was just like, oh boy, that's a setup. Uh, this won't end well.
Yeah. I think they're doing great groundwork if they do inevitably turn. They're giving every reason for Okoye and Killmonger to be mad if all this is to come about as the Voodoo Khan has said, and it
Yeah.
is. It is a master stroke of genius to have you empathize with Eric before him ever perceiving to be any kind of villainous. And
Mhm.
then when the king takes his girl, I mean, what do you what are you doing in those instances?
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see where Killmonger ends in all this because up until where I read, he is down for the cause of helping T'Challa figure out what's going on with Wakanda, and we'll get to that in a little. But what do you think about the
Not only not
characterization of?
only is not only is he down for the cause, but Storm is not.
Oh yeah, Storm is 100% like we need to get the hell out of here as soon as possible. What do you think about this characterization of Eric Killmonger?
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was like as if we took that storyline of what he was doing throughout the army in the movie. I was just like, what if there was no ulterior motive? What if that's just who he was? It was almost like they mixed in Killmonger a little bit with what the Nakia character was.
Yeah, the war dog on the outside trying to
Yeah,
de-escalate situations on behalf of Wakanda.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
yeah. He has an edge, but he doesn't. He's not. I have not seen the villainous side of him yet. I think there's one point when he might
no.
torture somebody, right? They threaten to torture. Oh, they do torture somebody for information on the sorceress supreme. But
Yeah,
yeah, I've not gotten like the and we'll kill as many women and children, to do it. I haven't got that vibe
no,
from him.
definitely none of that. It's just more of the like how do you say uh some of the I guess a little edgier side of like what it looks like to try to help people on the outskirts of where the fight is.
Yeah,
Like the further you away you are from the center of civilization, like the harder it gets to actually keep up with what's happening.
100%. And so some places
And
are like that on purpose. Like, we are the
yeah,
boondocks, we are the boonies, we are the outskirts because we don't want people around here intervening or.
right. and the people who have to intervene usually have to fight a little dirtier.
Yeah, 100%. And I do like that they've maintained this world weary nature of him, where he does feel like he has lived several lives. Like he has life experience as to how people treat each other, how governments treat each other and their people, what's fair and what's not. He seems to be on the
Right.
up and up. Again, like I got no smoke signals coming from him, and even Storm's uh, opinion on all this just comes across as the same sort of protective isolationist stuff that T'Challa's talking about anyway. She's just talking about it
Hmm.
as the nation of her and him.
Yeah.
Killmonger and Storm. Like we should not intervene with war. We should not be a part of this war. As
Yeah. I
those
didn't
two
look at
there.
it that way, but yeah, Eric and Storm are basically having the same fight.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I like Storm in this. She seems pretty cool. I like that. At one point, they like decide to help T'Challa, and like T'Challa's doing shows of strength with lightning, making it seem like he's
Hmm.
the one doing it when she's there in the background. All this show and spectacle, like I said, forces of power. They end up
Yeah.
they end up coming together, mostly because of another big revelation that ends up happening in this story. Um, but before we get to that revelation, we have to talk a little bit about the Voodoo Con. Not only the Voodoo Con, but specifically the matron. Uh,
Imala?
yeah, I just had it. It's matron Imala. I think you're talking about it. You're right. There it is. Matron Imala. Yeah, the leader of the
Imala, yeah.
Sisterhood of the Voodoo Con.
Yes.
Are you a believer or not? Do you believe that the Voodoo Con has the best of Wakanda in its heart?
I
Does
don't
that
think I trust
also
anything with the term voodoo in it.
But that makes a lot of sense. Do you think they have the best of T'Challa in their heart?
No. I think the only good voodoo is probably by Godsmack. Um,
And Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix.
I guess that's fair. That's fair.
That's how down that to
Um,
your hand, bro. There you
yeah.
go. There you go.
Um,
Rest in peace.
I would, yeah. I was wary as hell about this to begin with, and Okoye also being wary of it validated my feelings.
Yeah. But I think it's the similar with the Killmonger of it all. I haven't seen holes in their game yet. I just get a very sinister vibe that they're doing this puppet master routine, but it's not come to pass yet. Do you think
I think my issue was always the idea that she was so confident in leading uh T'Challa down a direction that ultimately benefits her side of
yeah,
uh I guess the social political direction of Wakanda.
yeah. He just so
Because
happened to get led to exactly where she would have wanted him to make the
yeah,
decisions that she would have wanted, that she would have advised, and he would have not wanted to do, but he ends up pushed in those
yeah, because
avenues.
the truth is like she is part of the advisement, but she is not the same part of the advisement as it would be the military, as it would be
Yeah,
his more contemporary political team.
strategists and all that
And
kind of stuff. Yeah,
right, and getting him in on her side for this just basically means he comes to her more times than anyone else when it comes to any new direction for the nation.
yeah,
She wholly stands to benefit from getting him to believe in all of this hoo-ha.
yeah. But I also think she gains credibility by telling him that he doesn't know as much about vibranium as he thinks.
Right.
And because she's right about that one thing, I think it allows him to believe that she might be right about it all. And I
Yeah.
wonder how much of that is the invisible hand, moving behind the curtain kind of stuff, the Don Callis of it all. How
Yeah.
much of it
But
is
also just like speak plainly, woman.
there's
Jesus
that too.
Christ.
There's that too, but there's no magic behind lack of riddles. So you gotta go out
I
there
guess
and
not.
tell a bunch of riddles. Um, but that's the other big thing that we're talking about here is this the other big arc is this idea that vibranium is sentient.
Yes.
It has a spirit within it that's living and breathing, and like it or not, exposure to vibranium makes you susceptible to this sentient being's will. Did I
Yes.
say that right? Is that what your perception of what they were trying to say here was?
Essentially, like it is essentially they kind of turned vibranium into like the lantern rings.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that there, but I wonder how much of it is supposed to be a narrative because at one point they outright call T'Challa a slave to vibranium and Wakanda a
Yeah.
slave to vibranium. So I wonder how much
Yes.
of this is supposed to be like a narrative, literal breaking of chains for Wakanda. Do you feel like, as a narrative device, Wakanda is kind of restrained to vibranium?
I think it is. I think it's definitely one of those things where it's like it is so interwoven into what the nation is. Like if it were to be inert, they would be almost stone aged
Yeah,
because it's been so long that the people who are there now probably don't know what it was like before it.
yeah, and in many ways, depending on how religious you are, it was a blessing in its own right. It literally came from the sky and helped them change
Right.
their entire lives and help them advance ahead of other people. I love when it gets brought up that there might be something wrong with the vibranium, and T'Challa's like, it's in every corner of the city. Like, it's so like, how would I start to, basically
Yeah.
exorcise Wakanda of this demon that is living dormant in its
It's like telling me there's
vibranium.
something wrong with the vibranium. It's just like, yo, I'm wearing the vibranium.
Yeah, there's something
You
wrong with the
mean?
air. There's something wrong with the air, by the way. When you get a chance, can you fix that? Um, but I'm wondering to what end. Like, are we at a
The
point where
vibranium has the launch codes.
at what point do you think like do you think what end do you think this is meant to serve? I guess do you think you want our T'Challa to abandon vibranium outright in service of what they called the mother particle or the mother, what was it, god of flesh or the green element?
I don't know because like that. Yeah, I genuinely don't have an answer because at that point I started going like I don't know how to trust this thing any more than I trusted that thing, and that thing
Yeah, yeah.
had scary monsters in it.
I think what's interesting is that the vibranium, when you think about it, right, and like
Yeah.
plainly, has been used as a defensive and offensive material first and foremost, and then in
Yes.
things like technology. But it serves as armor and it serves as a sword. And the green element serves to create life, no matter how monstrous I think it could end up being. So I do like those, that yin and yang in terms of these materials, and the
Yeah.
idea that they would believe that Lord Khonshu would be one to, or sorry, the Moon Knight would be one to um, harness this power and use it against Wakanda. When all this gets brought up, um, T'Challa informs the people closest to him, but Okoye is not one of those people. How do you feel about
Hmm.
that?
Uh, That's good. I guess I get it. I'm always confused about where Koye stands in the political spectrum of it all. Is like she does she even lead the Dora Milaje in this?
No, no, but she was former
No.
Ghidorah, I want to say.
So she's Formidor. So like she's really just the wife,
Yeah,
which is just like I guess I wonder if there's a part of Okoye at that point that's just like itching to be back in a station.
like, I mean, do you think if she was like the leader of the Dora, he would have roped her in? You think it's the fact that she's just a
Probably
civilian?
because
That
arguably at that point, like she is the head of the military arm of Wakanda, and that is, you know, that is top of government essentially, right?
Yeah, Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any trouble to bringing in someone like Killmonger without question and not bringing in someone like Okoye?
Uh, 100%. Because there's, while logically you think, well, if I get a view from the outside, I get new perspective and I can get something like maybe I'm not seeing something, which makes absolute sense. But the
Yeah,
people who but the people who are bent on these ideas of loyalty only see that you are asking somebody else that they don't trust.
yeah.
Whereas I've been in here doing the work.
Yes, 100%. But yeah, you're right. If anyone can succumb to the dangers of an echo chamber, surely royalty can, right? Surely they can
100%.
be only told to have a bunch of yes men around them and always told that they are the smartest. So maybe it is the idea that Killmonger and Storm challenged those beliefs that made them people you would want around in your inner circle. I just not including your wife is a big it's pretty big. I think it's a little telling, but they currently have a mole. There's someone in
Mm.
Wakanda that is the Moon Knight,
Just telling the secrets.
telling the secrets out there in the streets, and the Queen is almost murdered.
Hmm.
There's an assassination attempt on the Queen's life.
Yes.
And, and she wants to know where the heck T'Challa's at. T'Challa ends up showing back up and trying to explain himself, but again, he's not telling the whole truth. At one point, he's stabbed with a knife that has some of the other
The green,
the green
the green
the green
substance.
stuff up in him, and he like what is he like trips right? He sees a bunch of images, and then he wakes up, and they said he was been screaming and yelling for the past week, alternating between crying and screaming in his sleep, and they thought he was gonna die.
Yes.
Um, and then simultaneously, he is having dreams of murdering Moon Knight and what is to become after that, and believes that he is being willed by vibranium to kill Moon Knight. He even
Hmm.
kind of shows a bit of an ability to call vibranium to him. How would you best describe what's going on there?
Uh, I the best way I could put it, I think, is like it sounds like there's an innate relationship between the the conscience and the vibranium. So as he puts it, like he didn't force it to come to him, but he asked it and it obliged.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it sounds like the sort of joke about like Aquaman doesn't talk to fish. He just like, but he does bear a power of suggestion.
yes, yes, yes. He can't communicate with it. He can't not straight up talk and like have a conversation, but there's a level
Yeah.
of give and take there. Um, I I like this moment of clarity that comes almost like when Lex had Superman's powers for that little bit in All Star. He's like, I can
Yeah.
see everything. I can feel the vibranium. I can see it in every sense. I
Yeah.
can like that's a cool development for that character.
Yes.
Um, but I am still I don't know that the jury is out on vibranium, good or bad. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not ready to put that YouTube video out. But I know that at one point they enlist the Sorcerer Supreme. I believe her name is Enon.
Yeah, you have to do it like a 24-hour 24/7 news blog. Vibranium.
Yeah, good or not. We got people on the panel. We'll talk about it. T'Chaka. So we have we're introduced to Enon, the Sorceress Supreme. She's an immensely
Yes.
powerful occultist of questionable sanity who is believed to be the current Sorcerer Supreme. She doesn't offer any information outright. I don't know if that's the coolness
No.
or most frustrating part of that character. She doesn't say like
Uh
I am the Sorcerer Supreme. Like later on when they have gathered her favor because they basically save her fucking life. That's when she's
yeah.
like, okay, guys, I am the Sorcerer Supreme, But before then, she is not giving anything up.
It's just like, well, I guess you guys are okay. All
Yeah,
right, here's the deal.
yeah. You, the first interaction with her is her puppeting half dead people to
Yes.
uh, communicate with her, and I think that immediately gives her like a sense of gray in this. I don't feel like she's necessarily 100% on their side. I think she's on their side because of payment for being freed. That makes sense.
Yes.
I don't see her as the out and out protagonist in the story yet. I still think the jury's out on her Um, who knows? But I don't trust anybody who wears robes and religious robes and does gang signs. And there's a lot of that going on here. So I don't know who I'm supposed to believe, man. Doctor Strange has had to have some experience with Khonshu. I would believe somewhere in the comics.
I
Someone's yelling at me
probably I
now
don't
about it.
I've
Like,
never read that. I never read that book. Probably.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You would think that these lines would end up getting crossed.
I
Um,
I imagine they're not fond of each other.
yes. Um, but at one point it is then straight up decided. I think it's Khonshu, right? Who decides that we need to fight. We need to fight, and we can do it in a way where it doesn't have to be your whole army and my whole army fighting to the death, creating a bloodbath. We can do
Hmm.
it where it's like me and you, ritual combat, uh, you know, winner take
Yeah.
all kind of situation. I think at one point, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if he's talking to the Voodoo Khan or he's talking to Okoye, but T'Challa's like, um, I do not wish to kill a man, and they're like, you signed up for a battle to the death. I don't know if you know how this works, but you signed up to a battle to the death, and thus, if you wish to make it out alive, you will have to kill that man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't considered the that at the time.
Do you think there's still space in 2025 for ritual combat?
No.
No, no.
No, I think society frowns upon that one completely
What
in
if
a
it
way
was?
that is no coming back from.
What if it was ritual combat and substitution for war? What if
Um,
Russia was like, you know what, we really want to go
it's
to war with America. Just give us your strongest man, and we will
I was
give
gonna
you
say
our
like
strongest man, and
that's like it's hilarious in its own way because it's just like how about we substitute the war
yes,
for an itsy bitsy tiny little micro war?
yes, this is the battle of the billionaires in
Yeah,
in long form.
Umaga and Bobby
Yes,
Lashley.
but I'm trying to imagine how much this does mitigate the tremendous loss of life that I guess would have come if he didn't agree to throw hands in the middle of a quarry or something with this
Right,
with this
absolutely.
insane man.
I guess it's hard to not look at that situation and think like it's so straightforward. There has to be another card being played.
Yes, I think so. It felt like easy, given the
Yeah,
fact that
that's
these
what I'm
guys are
saying.
like our big bads or whatever. It's like kind
Yeah,
of
like he just offered him up for fisticuffs.
yeah, and then they fight and T'Challa wins in a very quick fashion. I don't even think he was even all that hurt. People seemed very surprised by his level of intensity given in the fight, but
Yeah,
there's also some
he
illusions
kind
that
of just snaps his forearm.
but there's some illusions that he's being driven by vibranium in that moment.
Yes, very
Uh,
much so.
and it's giving him this sort of bloodlust. That's like an interesting idea that you can be intoxicated by this metal that I mean it's if we understand that lead can poison us, right? It's not too far of a jump there, right? That Wakanda, I mean vibranium and the abundance of it would have some sort of alternative.
Yeah, I don't think people have ever thought about it like lead poisoning in quite that way. But yeah, I think there's obviously some logic to the idea that the corruption could have some sort of effect on you like mentally, right?
Yeah. I also do not see, but again, I have not completely finished this run, how exactly T'Challa or anyone in this story would fold back into like the grand story of the Maker and all that. I don't know what has happened to T'Challa because a lot of this fight feels like stolen valor or like right stolen destiny. This idea that
Mhm.
the Maker has used his machinations to steal whole parts of people's lives. And
Yes,
a lot of the resistance against him are people trying to get that back, rightfully so. But I don't.
yes.
But am I wrong to perceive that T'Challa has not lost much?
You are not. He is still king of Wakanda. They are still teaming with the most powerful item that has ever been known to humans because it is an otherworldly object.
Hmm.
Seemingly nothing has changed except the relationships inside of Wakanda, which on paper is almost baffling because you'd go, why did any of that even need to be changed in and
Yeah,
of itself?
yeah. And if it was Maker changing it, to what end?
Right,
He goes,
exactly.
no, you
Like
know what?
like
No,
why
we're gonna put a
why
Okoye in
does
that
he
spot.
want Okoye to be? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Unless like there would have to be such a there would have to be such a machination that he would he would have to position people in a specific way in order to say, uh, this chess piece is gonna move here and this chess piece is then gonna move there.
yeah.
And because of that, these particular four chess pieces will be moving in circles around each other for so long that I'll never have to even concern myself with it.
I can see that narrative.
You know?
Everyone keeping each other busy.
Yeah.
And
Like
so,
Wakanda would be so busy infighting for so long
yeah,
that it will never be my problem.
that is a very interesting concept. The idea that you can like the bus that's never late. You can place your bet
Yeah,
on Wakanda being isolationist and thus out of the realm of intervening on anything that you do in this universe.
yeah.
There's something a little cold
So
about that. He's like, oh yeah, I can leave Wakanda exactly where it's at. It's never gonna be a threat because those guys never want to see outside their own walls.
yeah, like you're sort of playing with an idea of making I don't mean to sound like I'm trying to outright the writing or beat the writing at where it's going,
Hmm.
but like it's almost to the point where you're setting up Okoye and some others to be like extreme isolationists
Yeah,
or like extreme nationalists to that sort of degree.
I agree.
And like that's gonna be the civil war that Wakanda's always fighting, like the extreme isolationist sects that want to stay like inside the dome, so to speak.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you said it outright like that, right? If you called them isolationists, it very much on the nose expresses their fears and all that kind of stuff. But they would just hide all that under tradition, right? They would just put
Yeah,
all that right underneath, like, no, this is how we've always done it, and thus this is how we should do it moving forward. When we didn't do it, Chaka got killed, or Okoye got home wrecked because we let that girl from outside of the fucking gate stay in the castle.
that
That heifer,
hussy.
that hussy, that harlot. Um, uh, I mean, Voodoo Khan was being messy. I think she was being messy there, telling him that. She didn't have to tell him that, but it's been said. Um, and so yeah, I can definitely see Killmonger being put, through the events of the story. I can see Killmonger being put on the opposite side of T'Challa because of this. I can see Okoye being put on the opposite because of this. But I don't know how much is left in Moon Knight, and I don't know
Mm.
how much of them is just like a proxy antagonist to what is to really come out of all this. Have they just been playing, bad guys so that we can't see who the real bad guy is?
Yeah, I feel like Moon Knight and Khonshu have been a red herring.
That's interesting. Yeah.
If I feel like they've been positioned as the big bads, only for them to like I feel like there was a movie or a video game like this. Like they've been positioned where they were, only for them to go down somewhere. Actually, like instead of going down late, they went down in the middle, and then you're just left to go like, wait, where's the rest of this? Where's the rest of this going?
Yeah, we call that getting cotton mouthed. In
Oh
in
God!
some circles, it's also known as the Mister Negative effect. Because ultimately, yeah, it's revealed there is a bigger fish. There is a bigger antagonist. There is somebody more, um, who will be revealed in the fullness of time to be more of a direct antagonist to our protagonist. And I think that Killmonger, Okoye, and whoever ends up falling out of favor to the Wakandan kingdom serve as natural antagonists at that point,
Yeah,
especially if the argument is traditionalist versus more modern take on all this kind of stuff. All you would need is for the Voodoo Khan to denounce the throne, right?
Yeah. Um. Once it's powerful enough, yeah.
Yeah. It was they like I think it was end up being revealed in time.
Hmm.
You were aware that they gosh, what is the word for the people who can see the future?
Um.
Not no
Uh.
no no
Not Sears.
no. They were women that they used to go like in 300. They go up to them to go like talk to them and stuff. Gosh, this is breaking my brain. Um,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yes. Um, and there'll be like these young women, young virginal women at like on top of a mountain. You would have to go see, and they would tell you your future and stuff. And it was like revealed that I like this location of a mountain that like natural gases would form that would create
Yeah.
delusions that would then have these people
Yeah.
see things that would then lead to them saying, yeah, you need to go kill your mom or whatever the hell because I just saw it in a
Yeah.
vision or whatever. So I wonder how much
Uh.
of that is informing the Voodoo Con. How much of it is stuff they're actually seeing, and how much of it is stuff that they can say that they're seeing, and it would end up getting them the same result that they wanted. They would have just asked.
But I guess at that point also you'd argue like how much of that is just is that the vibranium also like affecting them as well? Like is it not just a part of the
like intense vibranium poisoning. Like like these boomers, man. These boomers got that. They were eating vibranium chips off their walls, and now they're all jacked up.
Well, if there's I guess I'm assuming it like or insinuating that if the vibranium is sentient and has a goal, that it would
Yes,
be moving them in a certain direction.
that is interesting. What goal could vibranium have?
Yeah. Because
Would it?
the interesting part here about the idea that like the vibranium would be sentient in that like it's got these uh it has I guess I don't know if the word is goals, but that like the vibranium obviously is willing
Yes.
people into
Hmm.
certain directions. It's trying to will um T'Challa into giving into some sort of bloodlust,
Yeah.
right? Is it willing the Voodoo Khan into a particular direction as well so that it can inform onto T'Challa into a certain direction?
That makes sense. And right now it has a very cushy spot as the biggest, material used in the
Yeah,
kingdom. So how much of it is self-preservation to keep him
right.
bloodlusted, uh, in hopes of just kind of like shutting down everyone else around this? Because it is the Moon Knights that brought up this idea of this green element in the first place. You get rid of both of them and decide to lock it away, right? Because you do not understand it or whatever, and you're right back to living in a vibranium rich world.
Yeah.
So the idea that vibranium personified could be doing like some kind of weird self preservation by keeping everyone distracted is very interesting. I think it's very interesting. And I don't know if you got up to this part yet, but they kind of personify vibranium.
I know there is a there's like an entity that comes out of the vibranium that T'Challa gets to do a fight with
Yeah, cuz
that
comics.
Enon pulls out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I wonder if
It's
there's
just
another one,
yeah, it's the
another form of
most
the green.
parallax thing ever.
Until you alluded to so much of this Green Lantern and will and willing people and having entities and sentience inside of it, I didn't connect all those dots. But yeah, there's a lot of that here. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Um. In a word, I think the other books are very plainly good or bad of
Okay.
this stuff. And this is to me, it feels like the most gray. If we are to acknowledge that Wakanda got itself into some of these issues,
Do you
these
mean like in
problems.
quality? Oh, okay.
No, I
Yeah.
mean like in I guess morals or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's interesting to start the book with the question of whether or not things have gotten this bad because Wakanda has not intervened. We immediately start looking at them in a judgmental sort of
Right.
faculty, and then T'Challa is actively trying to do more, but cannot seemingly catch up to the consequences of not doing enough when they were supposed to.
I guess it's also an interesting question too, right? If that's the case, like, is this a question of whether or not the maker set this up, or is this just a tragic tale of Wakanda being Wakanda? Like, are you, if you're the maker, do you just did you just find yourself in a situation where you looked at Wakanda and you're just like, that problem's gonna take care of itself?
That's what I mean. How insidious is it to believe like these guys are gonna do this hamster wheel dance every time?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I've
and
been to the
like,
future. I've been to other worlds. This is just they're gonna get caught in this perpetual not did enough, do too much, not do enough, do too much,
yeah,
circle, and they'll never have, they'll never come back to me. It'll never none of the consequences of what I do to Wakanda or Africa will ever come back to me because they will always be trapped in this perpetual cycle. That's dark. That's some
yeah.
dark
Like,
shit.
it would be the most tragic reveal just to say like when you talk about all the things he changed and he just comes out and just goes like, "Oh, I didn't do anything with Wakanda."
Oh, yeah. Wakanda is
That
Chicago.
matter.
Wakanda is Chicago. I just left it as is, and then
Yeah.
and let things unravel there. Yeah, that would be sincerely the darkest reveal in this. Any far flung sort of predictions for where this could go, or are you following any of the breadcrumb trail? Does it point to anything in particular that you would be excited to see, or that you predict might pass?
Um, no, I don't know how to predict any of it, especially because like the point you made earlier where you just sort of going like, I don't know what this book has to do with the greater ultimate thing.
Hmm.
And because we know that the greater ultimate thing is coming to an end with their like totally not endgame, but very endgame feeling looking
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's almost just like, well, do you just like shoehorn T'Challa and the rest of them into the maker problem, or let's just this Wakanda crumble within itself, I guess, which would just be. I feel like that's the only logical direction to go. That like all that other crap happens, and somehow Wakanda just falls apart under its own mess.
I can see that happening. What's interesting is that I never thought about it this way. Because I always felt like he had to join the fray, just how everything is set up, right? But
Yeah,
talk about like a lack of baby steps there, right? The running before you learn how to walk. He's going to slightly help some people on the outskirts of Wakanda, and then somehow between now and the end, feel like he needs to help the entire universe. Like
yeah,
that's a big ask. That's a big jump. I wonder if they're going to try to make him do that. If they're going to try to make him want to care about anything outside of Africa, because as of right now, that's not the case.
yeah. As of right now, we're still convincing him to try to help the entire continent.
Yes, yes. So, like, at what point are we getting to like, no, this universe has been, incorrectly, uh, messed with, and now you need to do something about
Yeah,
it. And does it become the idea? Does characters like him and Peter find themselves in the uh Iron Man in Endgame situation of like, I've built this whole family. Why would I help you guys, quote unquote, fix this,
yeah,
situation? Because I am king, and I would believe by the time we get there, Storm's pregnant, etc. So forth. If the Voodoo Con is correct and it's voodoo and it's not a
hmm
con, if they are right, then yeah, he would be a family man at that point. I wonder
yeah,
what dog in that fight, or panther in that fight, he has, and
yeah.
whether or not he would want to find himself a part of
Can
that
you
fight.
imagine having to explain to T'Challa like what his relationship with Storm is in the 616 universe?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Like, no, you don't understand. This is not supposed to work.
And throughout this, I know because you're not necessarily following it, but I want to tell you that throughout
Go for it.
this, people in Japan are watching what's going on in Wakanda, and it
Are
is,
they?
yes, and it is the best friend of the protagonist, a girl named May, who ends up taking on the name May Storm because she is radicalized by this woman, freedom fighter in Wakanda. So she wears like her clothes and her hair ends up turning white as a result of her mutation, but she
So the storm in that book is essentially a cosplayer?
yeah, no, it's not a cosplayer. Is what I'll say. It's definitely not. It's Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel vibes. I would say.
Right.
Yes, very much fangirl vibe. So the idea that she's
Inspired
still
by.
inspiring, yeah, the idea that the goddess is still inspiring people, I think is really really cool. And obviously, like, when I was Ultimate Wolverine. At the end of that, sometimes you're reading like the dossier of one of the scientists, and so it's kind of presented like a web screen, like them like typing a document or whatever. And so to the
Yeah.
side, you'll see things like "Woman of Light" found, at whatever, and like Norman Osborn dead or whatever, like um almost headlines from the universe. But yeah, I've still yet to see how exactly it would all connect because I don't know exactly who in this universe would feel robbed or feel a need to correct or right what was wrong.
Hmm.
Very strange. But I do.
What
These are my off the
is
wall
there
predictions.
is there a connection between like the X-Men book and the rest of the universe?
No,
Jesus.
I think the only thing you can say is that in the X-Men book,
Okay.
or yeah, in the X-Men book, the way they get their power, I won't spoil it, but they don't get their powers regularly in the X-Men. They're,
It's not an organic
no,
mutation.
they're being made. It's a result of
Mm.
experimentation. They've got to a point in the experimentation where they know how to do it, and they're being made. But actual factual mutants exist in the Wolverine book. And so,
So there are organic mutants, but they're
but
also being artificialized elsewhere.
yes, in an attempt to control the mutant population.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
so in uh X-Men, there's not like mutants popping up all around. Mutants is not a big thing. They start to get realized, and you start to realize there's even a cult following, to continue the religious aspects and found family and all that kind of stuff. There's a cult that is surrounding the events of all this kind of stuff called the Children of the Atom, ironically. And yep, and they claim to know how to surpass humanity and become a homo superior, and
Okay.
so far, and so May is in that book. Maystorm is um the cult gets found out. Some of their members find out that, like, oh shit, like, you've been doing experimentation and shit. I thought you told us all like this is all like destiny and whatever. So she is collecting the lapsed children of the atom, the kids who have debunked the cult, but that's all they know. And she is calling them the X-Men, her X-Men, or like a little,
Debunk the cult.
like
Interesting.
they were in the cult, born and raised in the cult, but now have realized the,
Okay.
the failings of
Oh,
the
okay.
cult. But
Yeah.
because the only mutants are as a
Very
result of the
Mormon.
cult, it was very strange also because the only mutants are as a result of the cult. Everyone views all mutants as being cultish.
Right.
Because if you
Okay.
exist as a mutant, you have to have been in the cult because the cult was the one creating you. So her band of X-Men is a band of refugees of this cult who people are unfairly claiming are evil cult members who are trying to do bad things.
It feels like somebody is pushing up Krakoa X-Men versus regular like of Krakoa mutants versus regular mutants.
There's a little bit of that there. There's definitely a little bit of that there. And I all these books kind of make us question our tradition and how we traditionally see these characters and what roles they've traditionally played. And I feel like everyone is questioning themselves as to what their role is best in this. T'Challa feels like he needs to be a king, but what does that mean? Does that mean to protect
Yeah.
his kingdom? Okay, he's done that. Does that mean to protect other kingdoms? Is that a true show of strength? What happens if he dies as a result of that? Did he live up to his role as a king? Um,
Yeah.
I think these are my outlandish, and not even outlandish, predictions for. I do think the Voodoo Khan is evil, but that's because I have an
Yes.
aversion to religion. Not again. This says nothing to anyone out there who finds himself spiritual, but I myself have an aversion to religion. I believe that once religion starts, the questions stop, and I feel like we are right in the midst of the biggest questions of all time. What is this material? What is that material? And how did it all come together to build Wakanda? Or at least how did one of them come together to build Wakanda? So
Which is
when
why it's so ironic that they are so advanced and yet they have stuck to their spiritual guns even more.
yes, what mirror to society in cases.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that all the time, you know, how things like the Dark Ages stunted our intellectualism in favor of the very comfortable stories we were telling ourselves for years, you know, and anything other
Yes.
than that is blasphemy. So I can see the Voodoo Khan getting to that point of being like, what are you talking about? We bow to vibranium. They've given us all of this. Anyone who says we need to get rid of all of it, I just got that parallel there too. The only way you can stop a bad guy with vibranium, Greg, is to be a good guy with vibranium. And if you're trying to and if you're trying to tell us that we need to surrender all of our vibranium, what's made this country, how dare you? How dare you? So what? A couple people get possessed by vibranium
Oh
and kill each
God.
other or start wars. We were built on this substance. We'll die on this substance. My forefathers had vibranium
Oh
tools.
man.
We used to drink from the vibranium hose, and you need to start understanding. Damn it.
George, how can you use this foreign Thanagarian steel over this good old fashioned American?
Wakandan made vibranium. Best of the best. I'm telling you.
I didn't make that up, by the way. That was a season of Supergirl.
Yes, it was. Sons of Liberty. Sons of Liberty, man. Age of Liberty.
Uh, I that was so silly, but I do love Sam.
Yeah, oh no, that actor is tremendous. But yeah, to
Yeah,
be honest, sometimes, bro, I read these issues, I read these stories, I read these arcs, and I can see some of it. But it's really through conversation that I'm like, oh my god, that's what they like. They're clearly going to tradition to to allow this. They are what is it called? Like almost like the nostalgia thing. Like they are falling
nostalgia
to
page.
tradition in an effort
Yes,
to control the
yeah.
um Cracker Barrel logo changed and all that and all that jazz. They're
It
doing
didn't even change that
no,
much.
it didn't, bro. It so didn't. Somebody was like, Cracker Barrel was made in 1969, so it's like not even all that old. Like people were talking about it
No,
like like the Revolutionary War, you know, soldiers used to sit back and at the old Cracker Barrel and have some of this stuff, and it's like no. But the story,
I had the same conversation about the whole thing with the Yankees when they were just like the no facial hair thing is a tradition. I was like, one guy did that.
yeah,
It was only one guy ago.
yes,
The
yes,
Yankees have been around since 1902,
yeah,
and one boss.
but them stories, man, them stories, if they're powerful enough, you tell a lie big enough, and you tell the
It's
lie for
not
long
a
enough,
tradition. It is your tradition.
yeah,
The 30 years out of 100 is a tradition now.
yeah. It doesn't make any sense. We talk about like um I remember everyone getting hip to the whole like ostriches don't bury their head in the sand thing. It's like you
Oh
told me
wow.
that. You told
Yeah.
me that. Like what do you mean I didn't come up with this on my own? You for years have been showing me that when ostriches bug the fuck out, they put their head in the sand. Why would you show me that if that's not a real thing? Um and
Why would
so
you show me that if I couldn't have it?
that was hey, bro, that was the beginning of my radicalization, right? Understanding two things. One, ostriches don't put their ostriches. Yeah, you just heard that. Ostriches don't put their heads
Yes.
in the sand. And the second betrayal of my childhood is I did not encounter nowhere near as much quicksand as cartoons try to have me fear. And I don't understand why there was such a concentrated effort to have me both understand and fear quicksand. Here we are.
Uh, I, I remember being told that like quicksand is not what you think it is. In fact,
Bro, everything, all the cartoons, all the movies, quicksand. Like you should be aware of this because it could be a danger in your own life. I've yet to
yeah.
experience it. Maybe I'm blessed. Maybe I'm part of the Voodoo Con. Maybe there's some big destiny for me when all this is said and done. But yeah, man, I think that they are arming a war here between tradition and monolism between religion and anyone who decides to talk against it. And it's going to be dangerous because you are dealing with people's hard felt beliefs.
Yeah,
You know, you're not dealing
it's
with these like you're not dealing with passive people here. Everyone who feels their way, whether it's for the kingdom, whether it's for the Voodoo Khan, whether it's for Khonshu, they're ready to ride or die. We've literally seen people do it.
yeah.
So
You don't. It actually makes me think that you don't get too many. Unless I'm forgetting, you don't get too many views from the people inside like the city of Wakanda.
no, Shuri is the closest, and she seems also a bit like we need to get our guns out there. We need to get our ships out there. We need to.
Yeah,
She seems to very much relish in the growth of their military arm because it's her technological gifts, if anything, that get them there. But I do believe that her ultimate goal is altruism. She wants to help those outside the walls.
yeah.
But but yeah, what happens when the people of Wakanda have to get a mirror to their own hubris? How many of them are going to be willing to relinquish vibranium just because the crazy king who just woke up out of a coma screaming and crying said that he had a dream that it's evil, and he's brought this sorceress woman to do an exorcism on the city. Like if I was a vibranium, if I was a Wakandan, I'd be like, I think we need another election because this guy doesn't seem like he on the up and up here.
Right.
But
I wonder where M'Baku is at this point.
I would love to have an M'Baku cameo in here. I know that Miles will eventually. I know he eventually does end up in Wakanda. I think that's where his sister
Really?
pops up. Well, because
I have no idea
Miles,
what happened in the Miles story.
um, real quick, without too many spoilers, Miles gets an invitation to come to the Ultimate Universe, by the Maker. The Maker drops a blank card into his trash can. Blank card acts as a portal key or something like that. His little sister picks it
Right.
up and ends up in.
Because in the very beginning, he doesn't he kind of like shift like not shift him but like kind of try to goad him to like quote going home.
He literally shows up at his house and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to do the Ultimate Universe thing. Do you want to come?" And he's like, "Nah." And he goes, "Okay, I thought I'd ask." And then he drops the card and he leaves. That's the whole
Yeah.
interaction. And
As
so
if like that one character is the only person he has like a kinship with.
they're the only ones, man. Last of a dying breed, and they're still dying. So
Yeah.
I feel like I know Miles ends up in Wakanda a little bit, and that's how ties some stuff. But I am truly blank as to how all this is going to come together. But that's part of the masterfulness of storytelling. Sometimes you just gotta take your hands off the steering wheel and allow it to go where it's going to go. Um,
Mm.
we didn't talk a lot about the art, but I think the art is fantastic. Like I said, Stefano Caselli killing the game here, making everything really dynamic. I like how everyone looks. I like how the action scenes look. I think that's all really evocative. The ghost-like nature of vibranium when it haunts. T'Challa is really crazy. At one point, he like rips his face off. Like
Yeah.
you're a slave to vibranium, whatever. And he like rips his face off, and so there's a lot of real guttural and
It's like even your suit is vibrating when he goes to take the mask off and it just
yeah.
gross.
And he calls him like a slave. You're a slave. You're a slave to it. So there's a lot of evocative imagery. The dialogue I think is all great. I think the vocabulary and all that kind of stuff that they use in this is very fitting for characters in the setting. I
Yeah.
think all of that stuff works. I would recommend that you guys check out this book, and I think GT is recommending.
As as someone who is guilty of using like um the movies to sort of inform what I hear when I read books, the
Mhm.
comic books. It always feels good to come back to like Black Panther and sort of feel like I hear Chadwick Boseman in it
Yeah,
every time.
yeah, and
Um,
I don't think that's unintentional. Is that bad sentence structure? But yeah, I think that's intentional. I think that's intentional.
yeah. Um, the choice to go with this sort of like I don't know if it's the right word for it, but these Afro punk depictions of Killmonger and Storm are quite interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, they're a little wild, they're a little disheveled.
Yeah.
Their hair is all over the place.
Yeah, they feel like I said, like world worn, like they have been
They,
around. If you told me
yeah,
they've been doing this for the last 10 years, I would believe you because their demeanor, how they interact with other people that are not in their little circle, and how they are dressed. I think all of that very much colors that these people are down for the cause and have been down for the cause for a while now.
They kind of look like they occasionally get to shower every 3 days or so,
Yeah,
which is
and maybe
only
just Storm.
because I was
you
gonna say,
know?
which is mostly just because like Storm isolated one tiny little rain cloud.
Yeah, yeah. And God, you like I said, that whole Storm Okoye Killmonger thing is the Titanic. Like we will just be waiting and watching as that slowly unfurls. Maybe we get
Yes.
surprised. Maybe the Voodoo Khan's, you know, the all-seeing Voodoo Khan vision is not true. I mean, are we tied to fate? Are we tied to, you know, the word I was looking for was oracle. I don't know why I couldn't think about that earlier.
Oh, okay. Oracles.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
oracles. Um, yeah, are we tied to the oracles of our culture? Is fate locked in? If anything, the maker didn't feel like it was so, and he changed a whole bunch of shit. So we'll
I
see.
keep I keep wondering if it's like if we're just supposed to take it as religious garb or if there's like a reveal to that priestess coming.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a reveal. I think ultimately it's just going to be a commentary on how we can through blind faith can end up doing some very atrocious things if we believe that the ends justify the means. And uh
But no thought as to who the priestess could be.
yeah. Yeah, I think she was placed. I want to believe she was placed there, but the Voodoo Khan seemed to have been working with the Wakandan royal family for years. They advised his
But I mean,
father.
do you think there's a chance that the Voodoo Khan priestess is someone you know? Like, is there a reveal?
That would be interesting. I'm not
That's because
sure.
like she's very covered up,
Yeah,
obviously, but like
yes.
that could just be garb.
Yeah.
But at the
And
same time, like it could be priming you for something.
yeah, and you know, weird comics, it could end up being like future Aurora or Koye or something like that.
Yeah,
You know how weird,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
You know how weird comics can get. So like, I could say there's a possibility of something like that. I just don't have anyone springing to mind at the moment that would be because the point of a reveal is to get a reaction, right? And so I don't know
Yeah,
who could be under there that would get a reaction.
and
But
there's
that's
no
due to
context clues that are driving you in any particular direction.
yeah, and that's due to my personal lack of knowledge of who could best form something. Like Queen Ramonda or something. You know, like I don't know who
Yeah,
what piece could best do that. But
I actually remember I bought like I think I remember I downloaded a bunch of Black Panther comics
mhm.
and then like I just never got through them. But I feel like I should know more about this character and its publications. Like mostly just the actual Wakanda stuff. I don't really want to do
yeah.
Black Panther pretending to be Daredevil.
Right,
But
right. I did read that Christopher Priest one when he went to New York.
did you?
I had to do it for like a listicle or something. Like the best
Okay,
the times other heroes picked up each other's mantles was
gotcha.
the assignment. Yeah, so I read the Christopher Priest where he's in New York
Just
and
before
he's got knee pads
is
and
this
shit.
before or after the Electro run?
I want to say it's after. I want to say it's after.
Okay.
And then I eventually just started reading. Like, did you read Doom War? Did you read the whole like what Vibranium becoming inert story?
Um, did didn't we do an episode?
We did. Did we do an episode on it? Sounds like we did. I
Yeah.
think we did. We did.
Is that the one where like where Black Panther can't believe that Doom passed the test
Yes. Yes,
and
it
he
is.
strips naked?
He's butt naked and the fast is like I was unfamiliar with your game. um I'm looking right now to see if I can find if we if I can find it on the Google. I'm not seeing it right now. But yeah, Doom War, uh to say that this is not the first story to yep. 256. We talk Wonder Man
That was
casting, talking Wakanda Forever, and a Doom War comic review.
we're on 400, so that's a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago, and we've come so far. And Shuri was, she was a humongous character in that story. And the whole
Right.
idea was that vibranium was being threatened to be taken from Doom and used, obviously, in the way Doom you would use them, and so to make sure that it doesn't get into the wrong hands by T'Challa does make all the vibranium in the world inert. I don't know exactly what gets them their
Back.
oomph back or how they get their groove back. But I know at one point it was questioned, the same thing with the suit in Spider-Man and Iron Man, right? Like if they're nothing without the vibranium, then
Yeah,
they shouldn't have it. And I think
I believe that's also Angela Bassett, by the way.
yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Ah,
But yeah, like I said again, I would recommend this. Would you recommend this to those who may not know much about Black Panther and just kind of want to pick one of the Ultimate books?
yeah, I would. I think it almost because of what we talked about. I think it almost works also like you could get away with it being your first Black Panther because a lot of it's the same.
Yeah, yeah. I think this.
Just there are relationships that are slightly different that if you didn't know them, like it wouldn't matter anyway.
Yeah, I think that this book actually will help color other readings of Black Panther. I think
Yeah,
that by realizing what changes they made and what changes they didn't, will make you question about whether or not these changes should have been made in the actual book. But
yeah.
some of these
Although
characters,
I'm still not comfortable with the Okoye relationship to begin with.
fair, fair, it's a little bit too close proximity, workmates,
Yeah.
getting it on. But yeah, go out there and check out Ultimate Black Panther. We have two more Ultimate books we're gonna cover to finish up here, and that
What's
is
that?
Ultimates is next week.
Oh, okay.
The Ultimates is
Yes,
next week.
that's got Yogi on it.
Yeah, The Ultimates is next week, and then we have Ultimate Wolverine. I think Ultimate Hawkeye is coming out, but it's only a one shot to my knowledge. We were doing all
Really?
this to lead up into Ultimate Incursion, which feels like Ultimate Incursion has kind of become the Venom cameo at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, where he shows up in 616, doesn't interact with a single person, and then leaves without anything changing. That's kind of how this feels with Miles right now. I'm hoping things pick up because this was the entire reason why we were covering these books. So when we covered Ultimate Incursion, we already knew about Black Panther and the X Men
Is
and
Incursion
Spider
the
Man.
end game?
No, this was the first crossover in this universe,
Oh, okay.
and it's the idea that again Miles comes here looking for his sister who got transported here by
Oh, right,
mysterious
and it looks like
means.
nothing's actually happening.
It does. It looks like he's gonna come and go without any issue, and yeah, we'll just have to wait for the ultimate end game for more. Um,
I know Yogi's got some theories about some infighting between Jonathan Hickman and what's the other gentleman's name?
from which book?
Uh he was writing the Ultimates too, also.
Oh, Dennis Camp.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Dennis Camp just came out today and was like, I'm sorry for all those people who wanted a team book. This isn't a team book. This is a resistance book. The Ultimates are a resistance movement,
But that doesn't surprise me.
and so feel whatever way you want to feel about that. Um, but yeah, I this was a fun kind of breakdown. This was fun, definitely to break it down with you again, talking all things Wakanda. We find ourselves in very similar positions when it comes to this stuff. Um, but I would be remiss not to say that this episode is the 400th episode of the podcast.
Yeah, you,
400 episodes. Talking about all things latest and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. Every one of these episodes exists at comicbookclique.com, the one-stop shop for everything Comic Book Clique. And usually we do sort of celebrations on these anniversaries. But to be honest, for this anniversary in particular, the best thing for you guys is to know exactly how we do things, and this is exactly how we do things here. We didn't want our 400th episode to be mired in callbacks and and things. We're trying to get new readers on here. This is a new 52. All right, so we're trying to get new
oh
readers,
no.
new listeners. If you're watching me for the first time, hi. Make sure that you're here every week because we do
Don't ask which Robin it is, just accept it.
100%. Yeah, don't. If we mention it, it's continuity. If we don't mention it, it's not continuity. Okay. So, thank everyone who has been on this journey to 400 episodes. Thank every co-host who has done late night conversations, sick, tired, exhausted, frustrated, in all ways, shape, and form. The many people who have poured their heart out here. It's been an incredible space to talk to my friends about the things that I love and sometimes even hate. Go check out the Venom 2 review if you want to check out some of that. But we have sat here and dissected every theatrical release since 2017. Gone even further back to cover unreleased comics, unreleased movies, stuff like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. My love for this medium has only gotten bigger. I want to do more. I want to talk more. I want to accomplish more. And your guys' support has helped us do that. Have grown exponentially across all social media, but you can find us at facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram at comicbookclick. You can use that hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things. Come to comic books and comic book media. We're at Major Issues CBC on Twitter and also at Major Issues CBC on Twitch. Um, we do this as a labor of love, free of charge. But if you guys want to help us out monetarily, it helps us so much. So consider going to patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse. And for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us afford the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing you guys content free of charge, because we don't charge for any of our content. So if you can just give us, whatever change you got on your couch, it would help us out so much. So consider becoming a Patreon. If you want to help us out even more, but get even more in response, go to our store, Shop CBC at comicbookclick.com, and you can buy a one-of-a-kind piece of merchandise designed by me. So not only do you have a unique piece of merchandise, we get a kickback from everything sold, and everyone leaves happy. But
Yes.
it's back to school season, and maybe you spend too much on Jan Sports and you don't have enough money to just give to your favorite podcasters and content creators. Consider the biggest form of charity: telling a friend to tell a friend about the Major Issues podcast. Just share that you like the page, that you like these guys, that you like this podcast. Because similar to T'Challa, I feel you guys out there. I'm in my cerebral mode, and there is more of us out there than is currently here. A year or 2 ago, we were circling around 16,000 members on our Facebook. We're currently at 52. There's more people out there. There's more ground to cover. There's more comics to cover. There's more movies to cover, and we can't do it without you. 52,000. Dude, 52,000. And so it's been a pleasure to do 400 episodes. It'll be a pleasure to do 400 more. The landscape may change a little bit as we evolve what this is, but we're only getting bigger and we're only getting better. So get on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full, especially before Smashing Machine, because I don't know what kind of man I'm going to be out after that comes out. So join us where you can. Like I said, the Major Issues podcast is available wherever podcasts are found: Podbean, Stitcher, the Apple Podcast app, TuneFind, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Google Major Issues podcast, those 3 words, and our podcast will come up, because we have done a lot of work to make sure our digital footprint is long. And you know what they say about big feet, big shoes, or something like that. So get in your big shoes, get to stepping, come over to Comic Book Click. And if you come over to comicbookclick.com, make sure you hang out with the guys over at Dirt Sheet Radio, industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture. Those guys are tirelessly, and even more tirelessly as this goes on. I'm telling you, I've been saying it for like a month. I do not envy the guys over there as they continue to tackle this ever-evolving landscape of streaming services, premiere time, start time, kickoff time, 0-hour times, and full coverage for things like WWE, AEW.
I am not
TNA,
looking forward to
more.
watching WrestleMania at 12 p.m.
No. Are you not going to do the 2 WrestlePalooza pre-shows? I heard there's like one starting from like 3 to 5, and there's one from like 5 to 7.
Why?
I'm telling you, because Peter Rosenberg needs to do something. He's getting paid big bucks. Let's get that man out there.
But I'll say this. I'll bring it up to Yogi when I get a chance. Because it's gonna be like in the afternoon, I think we're definitely gonna. We're talking about 2027, but like, I think there's at least an opportunity to like live stream during WrestleMania if it's gonna be in the afternoon.
Yeah, in a robe,
but,
eating French toast.
Yeah, right, seriously.
I dig it.
Oh, Saudi Mania, that's got opinions.
I dig it. Hey, man, but like I said, the rising tide raises all ships. Those guys are cleaning the game over there. The numbers are better than ever, and they work tirelessly to make sure they're covering everything under the sun. So go over there, check them out. Like I always say, the Dirt Sheet Radio is always on. Just turn it on and see what's playing. Those guys are doing great work. I immediately, when I'm done with this and this talks out, there will be another live stream right after this, talking about some great things going on over at NXT Homecoming. But
Yeah. We're gonna do the crossover episode where we talk about the absolute failure that was AAA and Marvel.
oh yes, yes, I still want to do that. I definitely still want to tackle all that's there. But yeah, that rounds out our episode on
Just watch
Ultimate.
the weirdest wrestling matches you've ever seen with people dressed as Captain Marvel and Spider-Man and Venom.
And they're Funkos now. Like, these Funkos exist of those characters. I would love
I have a Spider-Man one.
there you go. I would love a Luchaverse comic, a Luchaverse sort of, comic there. Do a Powerbomb by
Yeah.
Danny Warren Johnson is also tremendous. So wrestling and comics
Wait, that
hand in hand.
was I did not know what to expect from that. It was actually a pretty good dang story.
Yeah, man. So
And
we
like
can get these together.
wrestling does not, for some real reason, wrestling has not like ported over the comic books as well as you might think. So like that was a good one.
100%, and they have way more in common than people think. Gimmick and royalty, legacy characters, heroes,
Yeah.
villains, anti-heroes. It's all the same, and I think that's why we work well here, because it's all kind of on the same tree. But that is all I've got to say on Ultimate Black Panther. Is there anything you want to tell the folks, GT? Do you want them to find you at all?
No, just come by like the Dirt Sheet Radio. We haven't been live streaming recently. We've been recording and just putting up what we've been doing after the fact.
Okay,
But we've had some real good times. Last week we got to end the show at 3 a.m. Shockingly,
check that out.
I actually was able to go to bed.
Early night.
Yes, seriously.
Look at that. Look
Um,
at that.
but we do a lot of work there, and it's a whole lot of fun. And I get to talk about something that I've obsessed about since I was 5 years old.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of passion going on over there, and it's all a labor of love. These guys are putting out all the stops to give you guys the most in depth and insightful coverage they can on this, and that's all we try to do here as far as Comic Book Click, which is why we work so well together. Um, I guess for all those that are watching and all those, again, we do this live on Facebook, and then that video gets uploaded onto YouTube. So you have us in audio
Hmm.
form, you have us in video form, and you get to interact with us live. Everyone watching us live, thank you so much for being a part of the 400th episode.
Live.
But I don't think there's anything else left to say. But my name is George Serrano, aka the Don,
I'm Gregory Thomas, aka GT Rebirth.
and this has been Dissecting Ultimate Black Panther. And remember, whether you're spiritual, religious, find yourself a fan of vibranium, or just like putting on that Black Panther suit, remember that we are the Click, and always remember that you, yes, you, are worthy. Thanks, guys.